What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School, the show where I teach podcasters how to love their podcast like a hobby and build it like a business. Today, we're doing a podcast audit episode with my Pod Pal, Gail, from the With God as My CEO podcast. Gail, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am privileged to be here.
All right, so let's dig in. I'm excited to get to work here. Let's set a goal first. So let's say 6 months from now, you and I are reconnecting. We had a great session. We've built some great momentum with your show, with your brand. 6 months from now, what kind of results would you like to be seeing with all your show, your brand, the whole thing?
Well, I really obviously would like to have a lot more listeners. I'd like to be getting out there in a lot more areas, reaching people. And I have wonderful things that I offer to help business owners. So I would certainly like that to encourage them to, whether it's joining my free community or joining a small group I have or going for the whole 6-month mastermind series. I would hope that that would draw them to that.
Okay. Listeners becoming customers. That's one of my favorite topics. Okay. What do you feel like is the major roadblock that we need to overcome here today or start to work on here today?
Yeah, well, I'm just not getting out there at all. You know, I was new to podcasting and I've been doing the podcasting since September and I've really got myself into a flow. I'm starting to interview people. I enjoy that too. But yeah, no, it's not going anywhere. It's not getting out there. So
okay. So you're in your first like 6 months of
Yes.
podcasting. Okay.
Yes.
Are you doing weekly episodes?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. All right. So let's talk about things that are going to help with converting ideal listeners into becoming clients. First off, we have to make sure that your ideal listeners are finding the show effectively. Like that's
Yes.
the audience growth portion of things. And we look at two sides of audience growth. I kind of separate things out into organic discoverability. That's all like the SEO, people searching things and they're finding your show. And then we have effort-based marketing. That's more like social media marketing, guesting on other people's podcasts, paid advertising, things like that. So with discoverability, we look at the name of the show, we look at the art that you've got, and we look at like episode title, keywords, and things like that. So the name of your show is With God as My CEO. Is there any title extension or is there anything other than that that's listed as the title, or is that it just as is?
I have on the cover page, Powerful Business Strategies with Gail Chalky. I've toyed around with maybe it should be instead With God as Your CEO, talking more to the population versus me because I'm helping them.
Yeah. Okay. So one quick tip that I know will produce instant positive results are, so on the title line in your podcast host, like do you host in like Libsyn or Buzzsprout?
Okay, Anchor, I think someone
Anchor?
does
Okay.
that. Yes.
Okay. So you're in Spotify for podcasters or
Yes.
Anchor. That's the same thing. So in the title line, it says With God as My CEO. But on your art, you have a subtitle like Powerful Business Strategies.
Yeah.
I would love to see the word business in the main name of the show. So I would actually add that subtitle to the title line. So I would have With God as My CEO, Powerful Business Strategies. And then I would like to maybe put like Powerful Business Strategies for Christian entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Because business, Christian, and entrepreneurs are excellent keywords. Excellent.
Okay.
Because right now with God as My CEO, there are no keywords. There are zero, like nobody that is looking for a podcast is searching any of those specific words.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like maybe they might put God, but they're more likely to put in religion or Christian,
right,
or whatever religion it is. So yeah, I think that, adding Powerful Business Strategies for Christian entrepreneurs, spiritual based entrepreneurs, anything like that. I would lean into that and put that on the title line. I think that will help tremendously in a big way. Just having the right people search certain words, find you, and go, oh my gosh, this is the person for me. They're talking about exactly. So with the title of a show, I want to read it and I want to know what it's about. I want to know who it's for, and I want to have at least 2 keywords.
Okay.
So the what it's about, we've got powerful business strategies. Who it's for Christian entrepreneurs or spiritual based entrepreneurs or whatever you decide to go with there.
Right.
And then the keywords would be business, entrepreneur, and the religious term that we decide to hone in on.
Okay.
And I think that will knock it out of the park. Now, you sent me the art that you are working on, and I think the image looks super cool. But one of my main rules for podcast art is that I want the words to be the star of the show.
Okay.
Because those are the most important things. Because people get their podcast art or their podcast logo mixed in with their overall branding a lot. I want it to mesh up nicely, but we have to realize the purpose of it. So like the word business is going to be in your title, just like mine, Podcasting Business School. People search business and my show pops up. I want them to be able to read the title really clearly. Okay. I don't have any images. I just have words, and I got the big golden microphone or whatever. But it's very important because when they pull up the word business, so they search the word business, 10, 15, 20 podcasts pop up. Mm-hmm. All those. And if the words on that little tiny square are tiny or thin, it's really hard to read, and they may not click on that. So we want to have a podcast show logo with big, thick words, easy to read on a phone screen when there's lots of other images, so that we draw their eyeballs and they want to click on that. So I like the little art that was designed, but I would put the words on there first. I'm always like, let's let the words be the star of the show. And there's always little pockets on the art, on the image. That's where we stick your logo, your art, your images, a microphone, whatever. So kind of let the words lay out first and optimize for that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, cool. So that kind of takes care of the name and the art side of things. With are you guesting on other people's shows? As far as like you have guests on your show, are you being a guest?
I'm starting to go. Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Now, how is that coming about? Are you having people on your show and then they're inviting you on their show, or how are your guesting opportunities kind of popping up?
Some of it, yes, and other just from networking.
Okay.
I talked to somebody late last week, and she wants me to do a minimum of 2 episodes back to back, and
nice.
So that was good. Yeah.
Well, I think that you're in a nice niche where you can be your niche expert within a bigger niche. So if you're in like a Christian-based Facebook group or something like that, and then you can be like a Christian-based business expert within that community. And so like I speak at, or I don't speak at health events, but I like MC health events, but I do workshops about starting health podcasts. So it's related to health, but I'm the specialist in the group. So kind of being that person, I like that a lot, and that'll provide a lot of unique opportunities for you. So I think that's the right place to be for you. So when it comes to growth, we look at other people's podcasts. Looks like we're getting some traction there. Then we look at paid ads. We look at social media marketing. So when a new episode goes out, kind of map out what that looks like as far as where you're posting, how are you marketing a new episode?
Yeah, right now. So the podcast goes out on, I guess, Apple, Spotify, and Google right now. But myself, what I do is, and again, it's just small numbers. I have a small private Facebook group with like under 200 people, and that goes out every Monday morning with a little description, so they know what my podcast is that week. I have an email goes out that morning, but pretty much it's still to that same 200, people group, right? And let's see, where else does it go? I put it on LinkedIn. I put it on Alignable. Yeah.
Okay. So is it kind of like just an announcement for the episode? Like new episode is live with an image?
It is. Yeah, I put a title on something which I know I need to fix up my descriptions, but my title is usually more of a pain point than what I have in my description. So, are you facing worry, fear right now, or are you afraid of growing? That's usually my headline, and then it's just a few words about the episode, and the email is very similar. But again, I'm just addressing that same group, and I do
Yeah.
have followers, but I'm not really getting beyond that, in my opinion.
Okay. So when I look at social media marketing, a lot of times I look at it as I'm giving my current audience a reminder as to why they need to keep listening. So
Mhm.
when I'm doing social media marketing, I'm not necessarily looking for new listeners. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's okay. Like I feel like you kind of feel like it's a negative, but I think it's a positive that like you are marketing these same people. We want them to keep listening. We don't want these are our people. We don't want them to drop off for sure. That's our
Right.
base. What we want to do is grow our base. Like when you guest on someone else's podcast, that's when you uh, use a call to action to a shiny new lead magnet that you've got or a free online challenge. And then we build our email list. And all of a sudden that email that goes out, it's going out to 300 people instead of 200 people.
Right.
Or you say, hey, connect with me over here in my Facebook group. Now the Facebook group is growing a little bit. So we leverage these other opportunities to grow. And the nice thing about dialing in your search engine optimization and keywords for your podcast is that audience will grow, and that will filter into your email list, and that will filter into your social media. So I think it's okay that you're marketing to the same people. We just want to grow that audience of the same people outside of the social media marketing, if that makes sense. So one of the things I like to challenge my clients with is my 72-hour marketing window. All right. So what day does your episode go live?
Mondays.
Okay, perfect. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, that's our 72-hour window. That's kind of the sweet spot when a new podcast episode is live. There's some algorithmic power to that for 3 days. It's like when you post a new post on Facebook or Instagram, and if people start to comment on it early, then they show it to more people, right? Like it kind of boosts it.
Yeah.
Same thing with the podcast episode. So we want people to listen in the first 3 days, ideally, because that's the same as like a comment on a social media post, a listen on a podcast. So we want to market it hard for the first 3 days. And I challenge my clients to produce 5 unique marketing assets in 72 hours. So what that is and what that isn't. So what it isn't is one marketing message put on 5 different platforms. It's 5 different marketing assets.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Right.
So like, let's go through some examples. One of my favorite marketing assets is a 4 top takeaways. I do this with like a carousel, a multi-image carousel post, but you could just put this on one image or whatever. So I give my listeners my 4 top takeaways from the episode. That's usually the first thing that I put out there. Here are 4 reasons why you should be listening to this episode. And I'll post that on Instagram. Then I will send a newsletter every week. I send my newsletter on Thursday mornings now. And I'll talk about kind of like a related topic. It's not just a promotion of the episode. I don't like just doing that. I'll talk about a related topic. And it's kind of like, if you like this, then you're going to love this week's episode. Here's a little bit of a promo on this week's episode. So it's like bonus, something they didn't quite get in that episode. It's a little taste test. So that's my second asset. Then I'm a big fan of video clips. Oops, I got balloons firing up here. We got video clips. I like having a video clip. Like I said, something smart, 60 seconds or less. I'll take that and I'll create an Instagram reel out of that or a Facebook reel. And so I'll create a couple of those. And then maybe I'll create a 3 mistakes to avoid post, where it's kind of like what you're saying, like three mistakes to avoid on the topic of the episode. And if this put the fear in you, then you need to go listen to this episode. So different types. And these are things you can delegate for sure to your team or to a VA and go, okay, here's the topic. We need 3 mistakes. We need 4 takeaways. We need 2 video clips, newsletter. That's 5 assets in 72 hours. And it's really effective. I start seeing people do this. and pair it with the SEO strategies we talked about at the beginning, and it really, really helps. It helps the SEO strategies bring more of the right listeners. The social media marketing strategies keep the right listeners listening and referring and telling their friends about it. That organic growth starts to happen. So is that making sense so far, Gail?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have not done any video clips or anything like that yet from the
Yeah.
podcasting. I have a YouTube channel, but
Yeah. Yeah. So you got video content. There are some great like AI resources. Like I use a website called it's VIDYO video VIDYO AI.
okay.
That'd make it challenging by the incorrect spelling. I know a lot of people use I think it's opus.ai, very similar platforms, but you can just throw your whole interview in there and it kicks out clips, and you could have 2 clips ready to go. I mean, it'll kick out like a dozen clips within a minute, and you have those ready to go. But yeah, video content is a nice addition. Some people aren't into it. I mean, live streaming is another one you could do, like a little live Q&A based off the episode. I did that for years and years and years. I'm getting back into it this summer once my evening kid sports schedule calms down a little bit. So yeah, there's lots of different ways, and you just want to look at like what your audience is reacting to. You could even be on Twitter or Threads. Like I'm getting some pretty good traction on Threads now, where I look at the topic of my episode and I just kind of pose a question and start a discussion or a poll or something.
Mhm.
And it's like I just put out an episode this week about how to use your sign up link for like a discovery call, or it's basically how to use your scheduling link to make more money as a podcaster. And I just put up a question. I'm like, are you guys strategically using your scheduling link to make more money for people that sign up for podcast interviews or discovery calls? Yes or no? And people are voting and commenting, and I'm going in and commenting on their comments. And I let them know, like, hey, if you want to dive into this, I've got a whole episode on, and it's episode 459. And now people are like, oh, I'm gonna go listen, or oh, I listened to it. This makes a lot more sense now, or whatever. So
Right.
creating conversations, that's another great way to just kind of we just want to stir it up, make sure our ideal listeners are listening. And we just, with 5 assets over 72 hours, like everybody doesn't see all of our social media posts.
Right.
There's an email inbox spam filter that we get put into timeout sometimes on the email inbox. So that's why I like having multiple angles of approach, different types of assets. So we at least get them for one, and they see it and they go, oh, I've been meaning to listen to that one. This sounds so good. So yeah, we want to kind of diversify our efforts a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And then once we're growing our audience, getting back to the point of like, let's get some business going out of this audience. Let's get some more clients. Let's get some more people that want to do your membership and your mastermind. Really, for me, that comes down to expert positioning. Now, that's kind of the magic with my brand. Like you can look at what we're doing right here, right now with this podcast Audit. This type of an episode, I call it a coaching style episode. It allows me to think on my feet. It allows me to, it's very low prep. Like you filled out some information for me. I review that. But really, it's just kind of, it goes where it goes. And it's always a different adventure, because everybody's experience is different. Everybody's business is different. Branding niche is different. So we always talk about growth, monetization, audience engagement, but it's always a different angle of approach, and it relates to people in different ways. So I think my next rule that I want to put in front of you is we call it Adam's 2/3 rule of expert positioning. So I want to challenge you to have 2/3 of your content so that you are positioned as the expert. So we're talking about solo episodes, coaching episodes like this. I think any business style podcast, my goodness, you could do really well with this type of an episode where you invite your listeners onto your show for a whatever business audit, and it's 20 to 30 minutes, and you get to show off what you do as a coach, as a consultant, as a mentor. And especially with people with memberships, this model works really well, where you could do this with listeners that aren't clients yet. But with my wellness based podcast that I used to have, I had a membership and I took those members and brought them on my show. And I did like a bonus coaching session with them for 15 minutes. And I advertised my membership. I'm like, hey, if you want to do one of these blah, blah, blah momentum sessions, then you need to be a member. If you want to be a member, here's the 2-week trial link. It's in the show notes. And that advertised and it grew my membership by bringing them onto the show for an episode. And it's kind of like a testimonial too. Like, what's going well so far? What are you enjoying about the membership? Like a little tiny shout out at the end.
I just thought of something. So I did this impact assessment, which is supposed to, it's going to be added in now. It was supposed to be my what do you call it? CTA, call to action.
Yep.
So basically they take this online assessment and I have 6, it's word impact, right? And each is an acronym and it's all about different things they should be implementing in their business for kingdom impact. So they could take that assessment and then if they wanted to, they could apply or whatever to be on my show for 15 minutes while we went through the results of their assessment. Like right now, I tell them in the assessment at the end, book a coaching call with me. But I could maybe, what do you think?
Yes, that's perfect. That's basically I mean, I had you fill out a decent amount of information to do this episode. And it's the same thing, like just having the assessment. I think that adds value. Like not everybody will do it, but for the right people, because you want to work with the go-getters. You want to work with the people that like the want to connect with you.
Yes.
So people, I consider this a lead magnet because you had the price of admission to get on the podcast Audit was you had to give me your email and fill out some stuff.
Right.
Now you're on my email list, but you get the gold star because I'm like, Gail not only wants help and wants to ask me questions, she wants to come on the show and create content with me. Like this is a next level, audience member relationship. And I'm like, all right, Gail is a go-getter. She's the type of person that is going to go out and take action on this and get an awesome result. You're the type of people that will refer people to my show, potentially do business or whatever. Like it's a great relationship builder. So yes. I think this is a great, I mean, it's a great opportunity for you to show off what you do, to build relationships with your listeners, to build your email list with gold star people, and it's great content. These are my most downloaded episodes by like a lot. Yeah. And again, we talk about pretty much the same stuff every week from a different angle of approach, and people can't get enough. Like I could have big world famous podcasts or entrepreneurial business people on for interviews, and this episode will double it easily. Yeah. And it's because you represent my ideal listener. You ask the questions that my ideal listeners ask. And so they know they're going to get their money's worth because Gail's on here asking thinking the thoughts and asking the questions that they have as we go through this. So I think it's a beautiful idea. It'll show you off as a coach, mixing in some solo episodes, some coaching episodes, hitting that 2/3 ratio. And then imagine you're at episode 300 or like I'm kind of approaching episode 500.
Wow.
I've got almost 200 of these podcast Audit episodes. So think about somebody binge listening to my show and they're just hearing me coach and coach and coach. They see me expert. Like I'm just in their mind. I'm positioned as the person that if they want to invest in this sort of thing, I'm top of mind at the least. For some people, I'm their guy, and they put that little pin in it and go, okay, when I'm ready, this is the person that I want to work with. So I want you to be that for your audience. And I think this is a great vehicle to get you there. Make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. This has been awesome.
Gail, this is the idea. This is the thing. If you don't do anything else that we talked about, do this and it will produce results. All right.
I love it.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. That makes me happy, Gail. All right. Let's take a minute here and shout out your brand, your website, your social media. So people listening in, if they kind of want to get connected or dive into your world, where do they go?
Okay. My website is www.gailchockey.com. And I recommend that because that explains everything else right there on the homepage about what I do. And really what I love to do is my mission is to help women entrepreneurs sharpen their decision-making skills and steward their operations with excellence to boldly magnify their business kingdom impact. It is awesome. I have to tell you, until God became my CEO, things were much different. that was the door. So that's what I do in a variety of ways. A lot of free things out there too I offer.
All right, go out and support Gail. Her name is spelled Gaylechakky. And yeah, go support our pod pal Gail here. So if you all are listening in and you're like, wow, I wish I could do a podcast audit with Adam, you can. But my schedule for the summer of 2024 is filling up quickly. Go over to the website, podcastingbusiness.school. Hop on the freebie button and sign up for your very own podcast audits. You can be just like my pod pal Gail over here. And other than that, pod pals, appreciate you supporting the show. And I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you next time.